Welcome back. Charlie Spickler from canismajorfilms here, and today we're going to get into segment number three in our series on how to make independent films. I hope you enjoyed the first two. Our screenwriting video of how to get your screenplay written and ready and what you should be writing so you can get into the next phase of the scheduling and budgeting where you know you're going to hire your great AD and you can get yourself a good line producer to get yourself all squared away to set yourself up for success. So segment 3, we're going to be talking about your creatives and what those are. But before we get into that, a reminder that this channel is sponsored by Follow Focus Gears. And we love these guys. They make these wonderful handmade, they make them gears for your lenses. For those of you running mirrorless cameras, Canon, we love their lenses, but they are just crap for follow focus. So you get these follow focus gears and you can follow focus. But honestly, even when I'm shooting stills, having these rings on here, making focus, it's really good. So click on the link below and you'll get 10% off on any ring you buy. 1, 2, 10, however many you want. Every ring, 10% off for eternity, or as long as you want to shoot. They're great. I highly recommend them. Follow Focus Gears. You won't be sorry. So, what are your creatives? Well, we'll find out in a second. Let's get into it. When we're talking about creatives on a movie, what are we talking about? Basically, you've got the folks who are your crew who are going to physically make your movie, your tech people, your grip and electric, hair, makeup, all that kind of stuff. Your creatives are the people that are going to actually translate your vision from your head, which you've now put on the page. They're going to take the page and they're going to turn it into a movie. And as we know, filmmaking is a collaborative effort. If you want to make a movie by yourself, you're going to be very alone, and nobody wants to do that. So there are 4 main creatives who you're going to be working with on your movie. In general, you've got your production designer, you've got your costume designer, you've got your sound mixer, sound designer, and last but very not least, your DP, director of photography, cinematographer. Let's start with your production designer. Now, the production designer can be an all-encompassing thing, where the production designer literally is in charge of designing sets, look of costumes, props, locations, all that kind of stuff falls under the purview of a production designer. My production designer does that because that's what I need her to do, because we've been working together for 30 years, and I know that she knows what's in my head and will oversee the overall look of the movie. Now, for many people, the production designer just designs the sets and, involved in the set decoration and all that kind of stuff. And you have a separate costume designer. And that is more usual than not. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to have a separate costume designer. So let's get back to the production designer. Your production designer is going to take your script. They're going to read it cold without talking to you first. They're going to get impressions of the different aspects of the script, locations, color maybe, but feel and style. And then you're going to have a conversation with your production designer, maybe a few, about what's in your mind, about what you think the movie should look like. Now, it's easy to talk about it, but it's much better to show. And the way we show is with something called mood boards. Mood boards are a way of conveying a visual image of the movie using a collection of images from the web, really. You want to pull images from other movies, from photos of things that in your mind represent the tone, the feel, the style, the lighting of what you have in your mind. That's going to be the best way for you to convey what's in your mind to all of your creatives. Costume, production, DP. And I just happen to have the mood boards for Marie's Zero Gravity Bar and Grill, and I think we can go through them, and I can show you what I'm thinking for my movie and how we came to these decisions and choices. So as you can see in the first mood board, it's very cool, it's very stark, and I pulled pictures from the movie Moon with Sam Rockwell, because I feel in many ways it has a similarity to our movie. The first third of our movie is literally just our main character and the computer in the space station. And what I wanted is for it to be cold. I want it very tight, so we're not going to have a lot of wide angles. Everything's going to be shot as if you're confined in a space station. And I think the mood boards here really convey that to my production team. And if you need more than one mood board to convey that, usually you can get 3, 4 of the same type to just get an idea across. I had a few, and I narrowed them down to 3, just for the sake of brevity. And you can see, so in mood board 2, this is when our bar becomes an active bar. And we've gone in a completely different direction. And we are looking and have planned for a steampunk theme, a pseudo-steampunk theme, which my production designer will obviously expand on. But color-wise, lighting-wise, stylistically, that's kind of what we're going for. Very big departation, is that a word? Departation? From our previous look. And even though we've changed the colors, my plan is to still not be very wide, because we are still in the same location. It's still in a space station, so even it's a bar, it's not Studio 51. It's probably can hold 20 people at a time. So the confines will still be the same, but the color palette, the lighting, sound, music will all be completely different. And by having this mood board, all of my creatives can see what's in my head. And it's important. We know we're all on the same page stylistically. Because, if you're talking to somebody and you're like, yeah, we agree, and then they come up with something that is completely out of left field, you're not on the same page. So visually, you have less of a chance of miscommunications than if you're just talking. Mood board 3 is my costume mood board, and as you can see again, we are going with the steampunk theme, which obviously my designer will expand upon and sort of make her own as we go. But this is a great place to start. This is a great place to have the creative conversations, a starting place, and then you go from there. And one of the things that is important, for me anyway, is to be able to communicate with my creatives using movie references. A long time ago, my first DP I worked with, we were both fans of Coppola and The Godfather, and if I said to him, okay, I want the lighting to look like the first scene out of The Godfather, he knew what I was talking about. For Marie's, we definitely have a stylistic idea, and sort of Firefly and Serenity are a big sort of cornerstone of what we're going for. Sort of grungy sci-fi, space western kind of thing. And if you haven't seen Serenity or Firefly, you really should. That's for another video. But anyway, by saying that, all of my creators know what we're talking about. They all know the direction that we're going. So it's important to be able to communicate visually with your creators, because you're going to save a lot of time and a lot of questions and a lot of miscommunications and possibly money on ideas that are not part of the overall scheme. That being said, let's move to your costume designer. And so for all practical purposes, you will have a separate costume designer on this show. Now, you might think that costume design is only important if you're doing sort of like a period piece or something, but you'd be very wrong. Yes, period pieces are hard. Period pieces need to be researched. There's nothing worse than, doing a film that takes place in 1860, having costumes from 1785, and everybody going, ha, 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 and looking at you and laughing, because I like to look and laugh when the historically accurate is not accurate. But aside from that, let's say you took my advice and you're making a movie that takes place in your apartment, on the street, today in modern times. You would think, well, people can just wear their normal clothes. That's not how it works. It takes an extremely talented costume designer to make it look like they just pulled their wardrobe out of the closet. And so what that means is a really good costume designer is going to look at each character, the backstory of each character, the proclivities of each character, and they're going to address the design to each one of those characters. And remember, each one of those characters has to be dressed differently for each day of the shoot, unless you're shooting this thing, it's supposed to take place in one day. A really amazing costume designer makes it look flawless. It makes it look, these are the clothes that these people wear every day. And that is not to be taken for granted. A great costume designer not only makes the movie look great, but makes the actors feel like they're in the moment. You'd be surprised the difference when you are working with your actors in rehearsal and they get on set and they put those costumes on. It transforms them and it makes them feel more committed to the character. It puts them in the mindset of the character. Don't underestimate the effect of good costumes on your actors. So get a good costume designer, get somebody who knows what they're doing, and I promise you, it's going to take that whole part of the movie to another level. Conversely, bad costumes will do the exact opposite. Bad costumes will make people just take them right out of the moment. And actors know when they're wearing bad costumes. Trust me, they know. So don't go down that road. Get a good costume designer, and I promise you, you will not be sorry. Number 3 on our list of creatives is sound design. Now, for the most part, sound design takes place in post-production when you're done shooting. But if you don't have a killer sound mixer on set with a great boom op, you're not going to have sound to design at the end. You can make The Godfather, you can make Apocalypse Now, but if the sound is crap, nobody's going to want to watch it. And let me tell you, fixing bad sound is not a road you want to go down. ADR is expensive. That's automated dialogue replacement. Make sure you have good sound. And the other thing that your on-set mixer is going to do is he's going to let you know, he or she, when you have good sound. So you could be rolling, and all of a sudden, you've got an airplane. Well, your sound is going to go hold, and you'll know that there's a sound issue, whether it's an airplane or a bus, a Zeppelin or whatever, and they'll hold until that they can no longer hear that sound. These microphones are very, very, very sensitive, and you can hear stuff, 3 blocks away. So when you're shooting on location, you need a kick-ass sound mixer on set who's going to make sure that at the end of the day, you have clean sound, and that means rolling again or holding for however long. We hold all the time when we shoot on location. They're going to make sure that at the end of the day, you've got clean sound for every take. If you don't have clean sound, just let's say you don't want to go there. So make sure that you get good gear, a good tech, and somebody who is on the ball. Because you have a sound mixer that's asleep is asleep at the wheel. You will pay for it later, and they're not going to be there when you're yelling and screaming in post-production. Your sound designer, however, in post-production is going to take that really clean sound and then add Foley, which is sound effects, music, doing a final mix so that it sounds like a professional movie at the end of the day. A sound designer is very important. Make sure you leave money for a sound designer because you can do some of it in post and Final Cut if that's what you're using, but the real sound mix has to happen in the end, and you need somebody good for that. Then, last but certainly not least, is your cinematographer, your DP, your confidant, your bestie. Your DP has got to be like your AD. Those are your two like generals on set. Your AD runs the set, and your DP makes sure you have a movie. And it's as simple as that. Your DP is going to make sure that what is in your head winds up on camera. And if you don't have a DP that you can trust, you're screwed. I hate to say it. So find a DP who shares your vision, who shares stylistically what you want to become out of this movie. The DP I'm working with on Marie's, I've worked on a bunch of other stuff with. We work really well together. She understands what I want, and I respect her vision as a cinematographer to have better ideas than me in many cases. Now, I will storyboard all of my shots because I'm crazy like that, and we'll get into that when we get into pre-production. And then I'll show them to my DP, and she'll go, That's okay, but why don't we do this instead? This is a better angle. Let's keep it on the dolly. We had a conversation this morning about, going into production, and she had a couple of suggestions that I thought were great, and we made some new decisions going forward. We got rid of some gear. We took on some other gear that we're thinking about, because we're shooting the entire thing inside a soundstage. Having a DP that you can trust is paramount. You can sometimes get, a DP who, seems okay, and then, really they want to make their own movie. That happened to me a long time ago on a feature film I did called The Question of Time. It was a post 9/11 thing, and I hired a guy to shoot, and we were using my Canon XL2 at the time. That's how long ago this was. But it was a very intimate story. I only wanted to direct it. I didn't want to shoot it. So my partner and I, we interviewed, we hired this guy, and the first couple of days it was fine. But what I noticed was that in between takes, he kept resizing the frame, which made it impossible for me to cut part of take 1 and part of take 2 together, because the frame size was different. And I told him to stop, and he wouldn't stop. And he didn't understand maybe what I was telling him. I don't know. So in the middle of the second week, we were shooting at night in a park here in Brooklyn. And I got to the point where he just was not listening to what I wanted, and I fired him on the spot. I was like, dude, you got to go. This is my movie, and you're not helping. So I fired him on the spot. I started shooting that night. I shot the rest of the movie myself. I didn't get to direct as much as I wanted to, but it wasn't bad for my second feature film. And at the end of the day, we learned a lesson. You got to have people who are in it with you, not for themselves. And, you get a DP who, sees this as a gig, and an opportunity to get some shots in for themselves on a set with actors. You don't need that. You need somebody who is with you and is going to stay with you, and hopefully you'll continue to work with, because a working relationship with a DP, all the best directors work with the same DP or 2 DPs over and over again. Woody Allen worked with the same 3 guys forever. Coppola worked with the same guys forever. Scorsese worked with the same guys forever, because they know that these guys are going to deliver. End of story. So make sure that all of your creatives are in it with you, understand your vision, and then go forward with them and create. And the last lesson, and I can't state this enough, they all know more than you. They're better at their jobs than you, okay? If they're not, get somebody else. I always say that if there's somebody on my set who can't do the job better than me, then I don't need them. If there's an electrician who's not a better electrician than me, I don't need them. I've done every job on set except hair and makeup. So if the sound mixer isn't better than me, I don't need them. Make sure that the people that you get are better than you, and listen to their suggestions. Listen to them. Listen to what they have to say. I promise you, you will make a better movie listening to your creatives and being collaborative than saying, hey, this is my movie. This is what I want. I want it. You'll be making the movie alone. And again, there's that word, alone. Don't be alone. Work with the people that you hired, because that's why you hired them. Listen to your creatives, and I promise you, you'll be successful. So that's it for this video. Like I talked about, the next video will be going into pre-production, and hoping coinciding with Marie's going into pre-production. Right now we're in development. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Take to heart what I'm telling you about hiring great people. And that's it. I hope you liked it. Remember, this channel is sponsored by Follow Focus Gears. 10% off every ring you can possibly buy. Click the link below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs up anyway. If you want to know more about the movie, Marie's Zero Gravity Bar and Grill, www.canismajorfilms.com. If you want to get in touch with me, Charlie Spickler, canismajorfilms@gmail.com. And as always, keep shooting.